What's up, guys? It's Justin Kahn back with another Fractal Radio where we explore the coolest Web3 games out there. And today I'm back with Rob and Ben from SkateX. And so, welcome to the show. How are you guys?
Doing great. Thanks for having us, Justin. Appreciate your time, and thanks for letting us tell our story.
Awesome. So, tell me about SkateX. How did you get together to work on this project? What is it?
Ben and I have been in mobile games for quite some time. So he and I met originally at Kabam with Kevin and Holly over there, some people that you're familiar with, and we actually worked out some stuff with you guys at Twitch. So that's where he and I, and actually most of the team, like the core team at Block Tackle, our first game will be SkateX, kind of got together making mobile games, and we've been in the industry for about. So I've been making games for about 20 years now, and some other people have been making games for that long. So most of us have got together at Kabam, and then have gone on to do some other things. And then I rejoined Kabam, the founders of Kabam at Forte, and trying to figure out how to monetize the Gen G, the esports kind of sister companies of some of the companies, and so we started on blockchain there, and then Ben and I worked together at some of making a Roblox games, and that's where we got pretty excited by the MMO, building MMOs, and we made a game called Nerf Strike. In the last 3 months, it's had over 30 million visits. So we love making games, and so that's what we want to do now. We want to make a game, and SkateX will be our first game in Web3.
Awesome.
Yeah, part of the excitement for us was just we were really bullish on the value proposition of Web3 for gaming, as you folks definitely are over at Fractals. And we came from free-to-play gaming, empire building games at Kabam in the early days of mobile back in 2012. And what we saw with those games is that some of these players would spend 5 to 7 hours per day in the game for like 3 or 4 years at a time with their entire social circles. And then at the end of that cycle, when they wanted to move on to the next game, at best they could sell their account against the terms of service on eBay, but there was nothing they could take with them to the next experience. And so seeing what Web3 could be, and that it was really felt like a platform shift where it was early days, and if we could get together a team of seasoned game industry professionals, we could be a part of building that story of what Web3 games could be. And that's really what we got excited about, and how we ended up putting together this team of, as Rob mentioned, a lot of folks that we'd worked with at Kabam and at other companies in the game industry. And our teams worked at EA, Kabam, Lucasfilm, Roblox, Telltale, and Supercell, among others. So we're up to 17 people now, and building strong towards the demo.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys get it. Like this, as free-to-play veterans, I mean, this really reminds me of the early days of free-to-play, where this is kind of the new model for gaming, and I think that it will transform the gaming industry, where every game, or at least many of the major games, will be blockchain games in the future. I'm really excited about that. Cool. So tell me about SkateX. What's your first title, and how did you guys come up with the idea?
Yeah, so we had Rob and I and a number of other folks of the team had grown up in the Tony Hawk Pro Skater generation of playing awesome skate games and extreme sports games on the early consoles. Tony Hawk Pro Skater was one of my favorite games growing up, and then Kelly Slater Pro Surfer was awesome as well, and the EA Skate franchise. And so we'd always been excited by the idea of building an extreme sports game. And when we started to play around in Web3, skateboarding just seemed like such a natural fit. We were seeing NFT projects that were in sort of skate adjacent, skate culture adjacent, Bobby Hundreds, the Tony Hawk collections with Autograph, and that the community just seemed to be a really good fit for interest in skate. And then skateboards themselves, because they're a work of art in and of themselves, felt like such a great fit for the NFT sort of ethos of awesome, unique art. Doing a one-of-one collection just seemed like it could be a ton of fun. We could build some really awesome skateboards that way. And so we started syncing up with our buddies who ended up, joining the company as well on how do we build a skate MMO that has really fun gameplay and also incorporates Web3 elements. And that's sort of how SkateX was built or born. And so SkateX is going to be an MMO space. You pop in, you've got your persistent home base where you can show off your NFTs and other people can come in and see it. And then you can skate around completing quests and challenges, which will allow you to level up within that space and interact with other people who are live in your server at the same time.
That's awesome. So it'll, like, many people will be skating around this world all concurrently, doing quests and interacting with each other.
Yeah, that was a trend that Rob and I had seen. I mean, both in the games we worked on with Roblox, which is obviously a younger demographic, but it was just so cool to see all these experiments going on with how social MMOs can work and what people are interested in terms of expressing their digital identity, which is obviously huge in the Web3 space as well. And so that's a big part of what we're building towards, of like showing ways that you can express yourself both in your avatar and your clothing. We just signed a deal with Stevie Williams, who's a big pro skater and also co-founder of DGK. And so he's helping us to think through, how the metaverse fashion piece and your avatar clothing can be really cool expressions and potentially have some NFT utility there too.
That's cool. Any plans to bring in any avatar, like NFT clothing from other? I know everyone's trying to build their own NFT clothing collections, and that there hasn't really been an interoperability standard to like bring in any other collections yet. But are you gonna think about doing that in the future?
Yeah, definitely. Both with stuff that we're creating and creating in partnership with some of the pro skaters that we're talking to and some of the streetwear brands we're talking to, but also especially within the Solana community, there are a lot of really cool projects that have shoes. We're talking, we really like the folks over at Space Runners, so we're always looking for opportunities to collaborate with them, and they seem like they have some interest in potentially like building a way that there could be interoperability there. And there are a lot of other projects where bringing in either sort of PFPs, if there are 3D models as heads that we can bring into the game, or even just in ways that allow people to graffiti other NFT projects on the walls as they're skating around SkateX, for example, right?
Love that. So tell us more about the gameplay. What's the experience going to be like playing the game?
So you'll be able to pick, you basically come into the space. We're building in Unity with WebGL so that it'll be right in your browser, mostly just because that seems to be the starting spot for the community these days and to get a broad audience. Then you'll come in there, hook up your Phantom wallet, and be able to, or your Fractal wallet.
Thank you. Awesome.
And be able to select which board and other NFT collection you want to integrate into the experience. And then you'll be able to skate around on that board, and there'll be quests and challenges that pop up. We're iterating on ideas and basically play testing which ones are the most fun, but definitely hitting certain score thresholds and tricks, racing through areas of the level and hitting checkpoints, and collection quests where you're looking around. If you remember, like the old Tony Hawk quest mechanic, where you're looking for different letters within a space, but we might do different types of collection mechanics for quests around levels.
And what's the world like? Is this is like a modern, like a contemporary world, or are you in some sort of space, or what? Yeah, like tell us about the world.
Yeah. So for us, it was really important to say, like, hey, we're not trying to be the most realistic skate experience on the planet. We want a broad canvas on which you can paint kind of anything. And so within our collection, I don't know if you've seen, but we have boards that have wings and jet engines and hoverboards. And the idea there is like, we want to go beyond what's possible in real life, right? Like there are people who are doing the most, realistic skate physics ever. We're not those people. We're trying to build out something that can encapsulate stuff that's not possible in the real world. And so you might expect to see stuff like hoverboard races and more fantastical side of things, but also sort of street fashion. And so it's somewhere between like Fortnite and a streetwear experience. Yeah. As we like to say, we're trying to be more like the Fortnite versus the PUBG or the Call of Duty in terms of realism, so that all kinds of things can fit into the SkateX world.
Awesome. Something that's more fun and accessible to like a broader demographic, maybe. Yeah, love that. Cool. So tell us about the NFT collection. How are NFTs going to fit in the game initially, and then maybe where does it go from your first releases?
Yeah, so we had our first Founders Edition release on a platform that on another platform, and
You can say it. There, we acknowledge they exist.
on our friends at Magic Eden,
Yeah, yeah.
and that was our Founders Edition release, and it was 1080 skateboards, and we have some special. We're doing a special Founders Edition airdrop for those folks who are holders of that as well.
I like that 1080 skate. That's a great nod. Love that.
Yeah. And then for the next release, which we have on Fractal, we're going to have, there'll also be some additional board types, which we're announcing coming up, including the longboard. So you'll be able to, those boards basically will be tied to a different type of gameplay. So the standard boards will be more so tied to doing tricks and completing those kind of challenges in game. And then the longboards will be more like cruising and racing quests.
Awesome. Okay, so tell me, like, maybe some of the characteristics of these different boards, or maybe like dive into the description. You know, how do you, like, what types of, are you releasing any of the fantastical elements yet, or I don't know what you can share just yet, but people are always hungry for information, so I'm sure they'll want to know, like, what kinds of things are going to be in this collection.
Yeah, so in that first Founders Edition collection, we did have some boards, the sort of one-of-one ultra rare boards that had wings and jet engines and like off-roading boards. And so there might be sort of more in that line, obviously not exactly like those boards because those are sort of one-of-one in that collection, but there might be some more boards that kind of come from those directions and expand into different areas of quests and game mechanics within the game as we build it out. We're building right now right towards just making sure that there's a way for people to jump in, skate around, interact with people, and complete tricks and quests in an MMO world. And then beyond that, we're going to be iterating on, additional updates over time that'll include features that have special utility for different types of boards. So that's sort of the direction we're heading in.
Cool. All right. So people have to stay tuned for the real details and then buy into the mint. Awesome. So tell us about the release, your plan for, sounds like the game is coming, or the playable demo is coming pretty soon. What's the roadmap look like for the next, for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so we have a couple additional board drops coming out. We're including different shapes of boards like we were talking about that'll have different uses within the game. We're getting up to 10,000 total boards among the board NFT drops for these first few. And then we're working towards releasing a playable demo. We're aiming for early summer on that, where you'll be able to jump in, equip your board, skate around, and then we'll basically be iteratively adding more features over time based on that existing vertical slice of the playable demo. So basically, what we wanted to make sure, and you'll I think be able to empathize with us on this, is we wanted to be building towards the final version throughout the demo. So we didn't want to build a demo that had throwaway content or that wasn't in line with exactly what the gameplay is going to be. So we're building that almost an MVP, and then we're adding features additionally beyond that. And we're hoping to get to a pretty solid state of the game by end of summer.
Awesome. I mean, that makes sense. I think that's kind of the way you would approach any startup, right? It's like get something out there, get feedback. I love the idea of, I also think the release, instead of releasing 10,000 all at once, doing it in, incremental drops is really smart, so you can learn from the community and, kind of test the waters on what the demand is. It's like that's a good strategy. I love that.
One of the other pieces with the incremental drops is we're gonna release new artists as well. So in this drop with Fractal, we have a new artist that hasn't been revealed yet, but I think this will come out after the reveal. So Ben, if you want to talk about that, I think we can share who the artist is.
Go for it.
We have we signed a partnership with Hydro74. So he's a graphic designer, and he's done a lot with he's done a lot of partnerships, and his art just looks really beautiful. And so he'll be one of the first ones to come out. And then in some of the later drops, we have some other really impressive skate artists and some artists that we're trying new things with too. But we believe that the skateboards, they are art, and it should show off like some really cool art from some people doing really neat things in the space.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. That kind of really adds to that collectability element, right? Like, cool. Okay, cool. So tell us about. Let's talk about the mint details for the drop? When, like, when date is it? Do you have a date set? Like, what's the price going to be?
Yeah, so we set the date with your team for May 12th, and I think the details beyond that we're still hammering out with them. So we'll definitely be releasing those soon.
Awesome. So one of the things that's cool about your team is you don't need to raise money through your NFT drops to actually fund your game. You already raised a round. You're a real gaming company that's here to stay. You guys obviously have a big background in gaming. Can you talk about your funding so far?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, it was really important that if we were going to say we were going to build a game and we were going to start to have folks coming in and buying into the SkateX NFT collections, we wanted to be sure that we had the ability to deliver on those promises. And so when we started this company, we said, hey, there's a certain amount of money we need to raise so that we can make sure we have a core group of developers here for 2 years plus. And I think luckily, with the reception of the community and these NFT sales, we should be in a really good position to go beyond that. But we closed a $5 million seed round with Play Ventures and Cadenza Ventures leading, along with Animoca Brands, Coinbase Ventures, Solana, Marana, and a number of other folks, which I think just it really gives us the confidence to go out to the community and say, like, hey, we're here, we're building in Web3 for the long haul, and we're going to figure out what works and build awesome experiences.
Ben, we missed out with Goat.
Well, next round, well, maybe we can get in there in the next round. So that's a great list of investors, though. The kind of the who's who of gaming. They're clearly investing in in a team that you guys are building the future of blockchain games. So I'd love to talk a little bit about that. Like, you guys have been in the space for a long time. What do you think the future looks like for blockchain games, for play to earn? I'm curious, like, what do you think is working in the market right now, and then like maybe what's not working as much? I have my own opinions on that I'll weigh in on, but I'm curious what you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, a big part of it is just that players get to be part of the pie and ownership of the value that's created through a gaming community. We've seen for a long time that developers, and publishers prefer to sort of retain all the value there. Like, they had the ability in Web 2 in some cases to give ownership and give more rights to people to redistribute assets that they helped to build within a gaming community. But publishers just aren't going to do that of their own accord. And I think that Web3 has the potential to really be a game changer in terms of what gaming communities are going to ask of their developers and publishers. And we want to get ahead of that curve. We think that if there are two games that are both really fun, obviously players are going to prefer to have some ownership and a seat at the table in the ethos of building with the community. And so that's what we're doing from the start, with our game. And there are a lot of other really talented, great developers that we're excited to be in the same space with, and a lot of them on Fractal who are doing the same thing. And I think that's another aspect of the Web3 community that's just been amazing to us, is how cooperative and how engaged the community is in terms of working with other developers. Just sort of a breath of fresh air coming from any other industry, just to see how open people are to chat about their experiences, to give advice, to talk through what's working for them and what's not. And so we've been really, grateful for that and excited to work with the Web3 community.
Yeah, I love your answer, Ben, and I could echo there's a lot of themes that are really attractive and super sexy, right? And like, I love the interoperability. I love WAGMI too. We haven't heard that a little bit lately, but I love just building with builders that are building amazing things, and I like the idea of interoperability and like how, like, just the metaverse play of like how you can bring things into different experiences. But the one thing that I really want to point in and dive deep into for conversation with you, Justin, is we're really excited to be on Fractal and bringing the community to Fractal. But the reason why is we want this, like, SkateX to be an invitation to new users to crypto, to Web3, to blockchain. So we think gaming really is the tip of the spear, and just an invitation for people to come and to learn about crypto. I think it is going to be a really important thing for the future. And just, we've seen this when in social and in mobile and even on in just web, right? So we really want to invite others to just come and learn. And like there's a lot of things that are scary about crypto, and so we want to make that accessible and like really easy. And like some of the themes that are scary to like kind of really allow people to come in and just learn about it right now and just and continue to help build. Like there's going to be just more amazing experiences that we're going to be building, and then that just building with other people. So we just really want to invite other people to come in and check it out and to be part of the invitation to the next billion users in Web3.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that next billion users will come in through gaming experiences. You know, gaming is accessible to people. It's understandable. There's kind of a clear reason why a Web3 game and having durability of assets is better for the users, in my opinion. And so I think that's why I was excited to build in this space. And it really reminds me of early days of Web2 in some ways, where I don't know if you guys remember, but like in the early days, kind of like the '06 through maybe '09 era, a lot of companies, there wasn't so much empire building yet, and a lot of companies were focused on interoperability and exposing their APIs and making them available via RSS or like some sort of open API and encouraging people to build on their platforms. And then eventually these platforms became really big and they became real businesses, and they were like, well, actually, we should retain the value by changing that policy. And what's cool about Web3 and is that you're kind of like handcuffing yourself to say like I can't do that. Like we're going to force ourselves into interoperability, and by putting all of our assets in this open blockchain, and commit to and being an open platform, and that I think is re-encouraging this ethos of like, okay, let's build on each other's platforms or build interoperability. And so I'm really excited about the idea of these games, and I think in the long run it will actually be much better for the game developers themselves. And like some of these games, like the next Fortnite that's built on top of in an open platform will actually be 10x bigger, because there'll be a platform on top of which other people build experiences. Other people, and they'll build even their own like mini games or other games. And so that's like what I'm pretty excited about in this space.
Yeah, and there through blockchain, there are tons of opportunities then for developers to come in and actually monetize those experiences. That you can have people starting out as hobbyists, and then you'll start to see studios developing around those metaverses too. So that is super exciting.
And I think it'll turn out that, if you are the IP owner, the studio that released the initial IP, the world, the NFTs, maybe the tokens or whatever, and you're taking and what's effectively a royalty on like all of the usage and trading of these NFTs in the future, that is going to turn out to be this like incredibly lucrative model, that will reward you for actually being open.
You should go start a gaming platform in Web3.
Yeah, I know.
It's almost like you should do that. No, that's why we're really excited about Fractal too, and I think you guys are doing a great job to build a platform and community that's welcoming to game developers in Web3. Uh, and we're definitely looking into the UGC angles for how to really get the community involved and get them creating assets within SkateX as well.
Yeah, there's so many things you could do there. Like even letting artists, you're partnering with, bigger artists now, but like if you just let, individual artists create their own NFT on the platform on NFT skateboards and release their own collections, and maybe you share the royalty with them, then like that could be this huge driver of like UGC that like is built on top of SkateX. I love what you're doing. It's really cool, and I see Fractal as an application that lives on top of, it's kind of like the first application that's actually being built on top of other people's collections and games. So that it's and I'm sure there'll be many more. I'm envisioning like lending applications and like other mini games, and like people creating all sorts of different experiences or galleries or whatever on top of other people's collections. So we're starting off. This is the future of gaming, I think. So one of the things I love about crypto is how collaborative it is. The community really feels like people are building together. We've gotten a lot of help from the Solana ecosystem as we built. Can you guys tell me about what it's like to build in crypto and Web3?
one of the really attractive things is building with others and building in community and building in public, and just really the peer set of the other developers that have helped us. Like super thankful for leading the way and helping us, and we want to return that too. So if any other developers are interested, and if we can help, give you speed up your community, or like how we can help, like we love building with you, and or if tips of tech, like we want to build in the open and we want to help and turn that around to like to others and pay it forward. We want to help you.
I love that. Love that ethos. That's one thing I've realized building Fractal is, we have like a Fractal Mixer channel with all of our developer partners in it on our Slack channel, and then we also have like we'll do, our community organically is they're doing a lot of cross promotion, give cross marketing giveaways, Twitter Spaces with each other, and I think that's pretty cool. It's like it's different from like the rest of the industry, right? You don't see like EA and Activision doing that, doing those types of things together. So it's been pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it's been amazing, just the community support.
Where can people find you online?
Yeah, please come join us on Twitter at PlaySkateX. We've got our Discord link up there too, and we'd love to see you there. And excited to see you on Fractal too for our next Mint, the Coast to Coast collection coming up on May 12th.
Awesome. The Coast to Coast collection on May 12th. We'll be tweeting about it. We'll be doing a lot of marketing around it. Really excited to see it. Thank you guys. Rob, Ben, great to see you.